How are you supposed to build the body of your dreams whilst taking care of your family when finding the time to exercise or make the right meals just feels impossible? Well, we've built a system that's helped me lose 20 pounds in 8 weeks, and it's worked for all these women you can see on screen too. And it means you can achieve massive fat loss faster than anything you've tried before by doing even less. And in this video, I'm going to show you how to use it to become the strongest and leanest you've ever been. Now, to understand the process, let me ask you a question. How do you actually get your house looking tidy when the kids have exploded toys into every room? Do you wander around the whole house picking a few things up from here, a few things up from there, ending up with a pile on the stairs, and you just constantly feel like you're doing stuff but without actually getting anywhere, and ending up with the house just constantly feeling like chaos? The only way it ever starts to look different is when you choose one room, shut the door, and focus on that space until it's actually done. Fat loss for mums works in exactly the same way. Most women are so used to multitasking that they take on everything at once. And fat loss is the same. Intense workouts, steps, sleep, no carbs, Stairmaster, free foods, intermittent fasting, electrolytes, hitting protein. The list is endless. They're doing little bits in 10 different areas and making no difference whatsoever and not really getting anywhere. What we do instead is pick one area that's actually going to move the needle and focus on that first. And that's when you start to see real results like this. But what are the things you should be focusing on to get results like this? I hear you say. Well, let's imagine there are 3 phases to fat loss, and each one has different actions that will rapidly speed up your fat loss results. All you need to do is figure out what phase you're in and then take the actions within that phase that will actually make it easier and faster for you to lose weight. Stay with me, I'm about to break down the process within these phases so you know exactly what to focus on and exactly what's worth ignoring, so you finally see results you want to see. Phase 1 is where most people find themselves. And in order to get results here, you just need to be like The Rock. No, not a rock, The Rock. And no, I'm not saying eat a ton of sushi, have cheat days. Let's just stop saying cheat days, first of all. When his football career collapsed, he didn't just lose his job, he lost his future that he'd planned for and that he'd planned his whole life around. He bounced between odd jobs, tried different things, and felt completely directionless. And he openly talks about how low he was in that period of time. The breakthrough came when he stopped trying to do everything and committed 100% to just one thing: wrestling. I know, I'm sorry about the wrestling analogy here, but it works really well for the situation. That level of focus onto one thing turned him into one of the biggest wrestling stars. And once he'd mastered that lane, the world began to open up and he had other avenues to explore. His whole career changed when he stopped trying to spread himself so thin over different areas and went all in on one clear path. The Rock's story is a perfect example on what phase 1 is all about. Focusing 100% on what's actually going to move the needle: your nutrition. Because in fat loss terms, we have to forget about high intensity workouts, couch to 5K, electrolytes, greens powders, going gluten-free, tracking your blood glucose. Putting energy into any of these before sorting out the core elements of your diet will only pull your time, willpower, and focus away from the thing that's actually going to help with your fat loss: the nutrition. So if you're stuck, confused, and feeling like nothing ever works, you're in phase 1. And you should be focusing on the 5 key nutrition fundamentals that creates the fastest results. And to show you how powerful this key area is, I want to just ask you one question. How much protein do you think the average woman needs to lose fat while maintaining her muscle? Well, if we use the government guidelines around protein, for a woman that weighs 80 kilos, this would be 64 grams per day. But here's the problem. That number wasn't designed for fat loss. It wasn't designed for mums who train or exercise, and it wasn't designed to keep you full on low calories. It was created decades ago as the minimum amount needed to avoid deficiency in sedentary women, not the amount needed to build or retain muscle, stay full on low calories, give you that nice toned look that all of the Instagram girls have got, or simply just get visible results, which means most women trying to lose weight are under eating protein by anywhere between 50 to 100%. And that one mistake alone is enough to stall your fat loss, even if you're doing everything else perfectly. This doesn't mean you're gonna have to be eating 20 chicken breasts a day. It just means to pay attention to your protein intake. If you wanna know exactly how much protein you should be consuming based on your goals, then check the link in the description box below. We've created a free tool you can use. So the first area is focusing on protein intake, because if it's too low, fat loss will slow down. But when it's high enough, you can pretty much guarantee you'll have the best fat loss results next year. Key area number 2 is fiber. And this one isn't just about going to the toilet more easily. We literally have data linking it to whether you live longer or die earlier. When you look at the big population studies, the people who eat the most fiber have around 15 to 30% lower risk of dying earlier, especially from things like heart disease, some cancers, compared to people that ate the least amount of fiber. And most women in the UK aren't even close to the amount of fiber where those benefits actually show. We're talking 25 to 30 grams of fiber per day for those lower risks, but the average person is way under that. So what does that mean for you practically? If you're trying to lose fat on lower calories and you're consistently hungry, raiding the kids' snacks, and you're nowhere near 25 to 30 grams of fiber per day, you're doing fat loss on hard mode. Fiber is one of your biggest allies for staying full on lower calories, keeping your digestion moving. There are 5 fiber groups to focus on: veggies, fruits, legumes, nuts and seeds, and whole grains. The third area that women should focus on, not only for fat loss, it's quite simply the most important factor. And without understanding this, you will struggle no matter what phase you're in. And that's tracking calories. Yes, I know, it may sound scary or toxic. You have to see this as an awareness tool. It's going to help you realize how much you're eating, if you're actually in a calorie deficit, where the bulk of your calories are being spent, if there's any nutritional deficiencies in your diet, and how much of your daily intake is being taken up by biscuits. We must track the biscuits. So how do we do this? Well, there are plenty of apps you can use. Our clients use our own app, which means they can easily scan and track what they're having, so they know they're hitting the targets that we've set for them. And we also get to see what they're having and help aid them in making the best choices for their goals. This next area is something the fitness industry loves to hate. But if you understand its power, you will get results like Lauren here, who lost 10 kilos in 4 weeks. Let me explain. If you stand in front of your washing machine every single day and tried a different cycle, one day it's cottons, the next it's delicates, then you're experimenting with eco, then sports, then mix, then you just press something you didn't even know existed, you'd never get consistent results. Half your clothes will be wet, they might smell weird, some may shrink. Why? Because you are changing the cycle. But in real life, what do mums actually do? You find the one cycle that works and just stick with it. It cleans everything properly, everything smells great, and the washing is just bang on every single time. No thinking, no stress, done. Fat loss works in exactly the same way. Most people are failing because they're trying to find a brand new meal cycle every single day. What shall I eat today? What diet should I be doing? Shall I try a new recipe? Should I cut out carbs? Shall I go gluten-free? It's washing machine chaos. But when you eat the meals on repeat, everything becomes predictable. Calorie, protein, fiber, and your results, all predictable. It's how busy moms get lean fast. You don't reinvent the washing machine cycle every single time. And you don't need to reinvent your meals either. Repeating what works is how you win. And that means the next area you need to master is eating on repeat. Find foods you enjoy eating, that you can prepare easily, that removes the decision fatigue. And what's even better is that when you're in a routine and fat loss just keeps coming, you finally see what works and you just hit the repeat button. It just makes sense. It's so vital to remember that we're not here forever. We're here for fat loss, and it's not how we're gonna live long term. Now, the next phase 1 area to focus on is a massive energy killer. And if you don't get this right, fat loss becomes almost impossible. To show you why, let me just compare 2 separate days. Day A, over here, is what most people think is a normal day. You wake up tired, you grab a coffee, a few sips of water here and there throughout the day. And by the end of the day, you've barely scratched the surface on your bottle of water. Now let's look at day B. Same mom, same routine, same chaotic life, but she drinks consistently throughout the day. 2 big glasses of water in the morning, 1 bottle of water on the school run, refills again at lunch, and she actually hits her hydration target. Here's the main difference between these 2 days. Day A, her cravings are higher. Hunger feels uncontrollable. She has energy crashes. She ends up snacking more, and fat loss becomes to feel impossible. But on day B, hunger is lower. Cravings are calmer. Energy is more stable. Steps are feeling easier, and sticking to your calories becomes 10 times easier. It's the same woman, the same life, the same goals. The only difference here is hydration. If you try to diet whilst you're dehydrated, your body is running on low power mode all day. But when you drink enough, your whole day gets easier and fat loss becomes easier as well. The thing is, knowing you need to focus on these things isn't where the big results are. So now you know what to focus on when someone says train fasted or cut out carbs or just drink the greens powder. Just ask yourself, will it actually lead to fat loss? And if the answer is no, then it's just a distraction and you need to ignore it. It will take you back to that untidy house. So that is phase 1. What happens when you've got these things nailed, but you're not seeing the results? Well, congratulations, you're ready for phase 2. And this is where you do less intense exercise, drop fat really fast with little to no hunger. So let me show you phase 2 and how it's going to get you dropping fat really fast. Meet Carla. Carla started off in phase 1, confused about what would actually bring her results that she'd always dreamed of. We worked on nailing the phase 1 foundations, and once she had those locked down, we moved into phase 2, the aggressive fat loss phase. And this is where everything changed for her. Suddenly, her meals were simple. Her hunger was under control and her calories were predictable day in, day out. And her fat loss started happening and consistently happening week after week. She didn't need to add more workouts. She didn't need to try any harder, and she didn't need to restrict any more foods. She just shifted into the phase where everything you learn in phase 1 just pays off, and the results speak for themselves. Carla's been over the moon with the service she's received from us and her results that have followed. She's now finding it even easier to maintain this new and lower weight and live her best life in the meantime. Because phase 2 is where you take the 5 skills you learned in phase 1 and you finally use them to create rapid and noticeable fat loss. Phase 2 looks like this. Reducing those calories to the biggest deficit, giving you rapid fat loss. A quick refeed to maintain that muscle mass and keep your metabolism firing. Then back in to another round of low calories until you're ready to transition out. So can you see how easy this process is compared to trying to focus on everything all at once? We aren't dieting for months on end. You see fast results with no hunger in a third of the time that you would on a moderate deficit. Here are the things that you need to do in phase 2 to start to see results like this. Now, this method sounds almost too good to be true, and like we're trying to talk about a lie here. Out of these 2, which would you rather? Slow and steady weight loss with more hunger, or option 2, rapid fat loss with no hunger? The method to implement here is to reduce your calories low enough that actually hunger reduces as well. I know you probably think I'm a liar. When you reduce your calories, you can get into the state of ketosis, which helps reduce your appetite. But how do you build your diet to do this, right? Well, remember in level 1 where you became a master of how to thrive whilst losing body fat? If you've already followed our system, you've already nailed how to do this. You've already built the skills to make this easier. And remember, if you need help on where to start with protein, the link is in the description box below. And the next thing to do in phase 2 to help you maintain your muscle mass whilst on these very low calories is vital, and that is strength training. Here's why it matters so much. Your body can only offer up a certain amount of body fat to be burned for energy per day. After that point, it needs more energy and it's going to look elsewhere. And the elsewhere is lean tissue, the muscle you've already built. This is why, alongside keeping your protein high, doing resistance training becomes a non-negotiable in phase 2. But here's the part that most people get wrong. We're not trying to burn calories with exercise. We're trying to send a signal to your body. Hey, I still need this muscle. Don't go anywhere. Don't go anywhere. Don't break it down. And that signal only happens when you lift weights that are heavy for you. There's no set number on this. This can be done at home or in the gym. You don't need barbells, fancy machines, or long sessions. You don't need to be doing 100 squats, 100 lunges, endless high intensity training, or anything that leaves you lying in a puddle on the floor. That's not the goal here. And that is said from someone that trains CrossFit and loves those feelings. What we want at this time, low volume and high effort. Few sets, slow reps, near to failure, progressive overload where we can. That's what protects your muscle whilst the aggressive deficit is stripping you of body fat. Strength training in phase 2 is not about burning calories. It's about keeping the shape of your body whilst the fat comes off. So you don't just get smaller, you get leaner and tighter and stronger, making it easier after to get fitter and faster. The final part of phase 2 that no one talks about when it comes to weight loss is your mindset. Because even when our calories are set perfectly, even when you're hitting that protein target, even when you're training with the right intensity, life is still going to happen. Kids get sick, routines get messy, and weekends are generally always chaotic. And some days you'll just end up eating more than you had planned. And that's okay. Weight loss is never a straight arrow down. And viewing these times and moments as failures is wrong. Needing to raise your calories a little bit is not wrong, and it is not a failure. Stepping back away from the deficit for a day or 2 or a week is not a failure. It's human. And the women who get incredible results aren't the ones that were perfect. They're the ones that stayed flexible in their approach. And that is so critical for long-term progress. You see, what's happening is in phase 1, you don't just get rapid fat loss. You build the skills that make amazing results possible without even realizing it. And in phase 2, you use those skills to create fast, predictable fat loss. But in phase 3, that's when it all comes together. Because if phase 1 builds the foundation, phase 2 gives you the result, phase 3 is where you learn to keep those results for life. This is the part everyone forgets when dieting. It's so frustrating and something I'm so passionate about in our coaching. We're so focused on getting to our goal weight, we don't pay attention to what it actually takes to keep it off and maintain it. So in phase 3, instead of pushing harder, we actually do the opposite. We raise your calories, we bring your energy back. Your training gets to increase and get better. You can start to set some performance goals and you get to learn to live at your new weight without tracking every gram or panicking about food choices. Most people think maintenance means letting go, but it's actually where the results become more permanent. You keep the habits from phase 1, you bring more flexibility. You get to enjoy meals out without spiraling, and your weight stays stable because you finally understand how to fuel your body properly. Phase 3 is where you stop dieting and start living your leanest and strongest and best and most confident and most sparkly version of yourself. So what is the next move to make next year the most strongest, leanest, confident, beautiful you've ever felt? First, pick your level. Remember, this isn't a competition. Personally, I'm currently cycling between phase 2 and 3, and I feel amazing for it. I have goals that aren't related to scale weight, but I also feel really empowered to jump into a phase of rapid fat loss when I feel I need it. Then after this, just write down some goals. Don't worry if they feel unachievable at this time. We don't like limiting thoughts here. These are going to be the foundation of your why, which is going to be essential when times get hard. Now, here's the crucial part. If you're in phase 1, stop chasing the latest fads and only focus on the things that are going to get you ready for phase 2. If you're in phase 2, be kind to yourself. Trust the process and enjoy those rapid results. If you're in phase 3, start learning to live. Rid yourself of these yo-yo tendencies and start to become this new version of yourself, fueled properly. And now spend a few months just focusing on the most important thing from each list and remove anything that doesn't serve you. And you watch, this time next year, you'll be a totally different version of you. That brings us on to the one issue every woman has faced, and that's probably been sitting in the back of your mind this entire video. Nick, I've tried low calories before and it just didn't work for me. You're not imagining it, and there's a real reason that this happens. Watch this video next, where I break down why you can't lose weight on 1200 calories and what to do instead, so fat loss finally becomes predictable.